CSK knew that they needed to make around the 200 mark to put pressure on SRH in last night's game. They knew that Dew was going to come in out the back end as well, and it did. But Gaikawad played extremely well opening the batting. I loved the way that he was able to time the ball through the covers, but also playing in front of point and then using the pace through backward point. He's able to manipulate that offside with ease. There was one thing that I was worried about in the previous game. When bowlers were bowling a little straight to him, he wasn't able to access the leg side as freely. But last night he took on Natarajan and also Cummins, and all of a sudden the momentum turned for him and he was able to keep a high strike rate and the momentum throughout the game. So well done to Gaikawad. He was supported by Dubé out the back end as well as Mitchell. Now, Mitchell, if he can continue this form out number 3 and keep the pressure on the opposition team and go out a high strike rate, all of a sudden Dubé and Dhoni out the back end become even more lethal. Opposition teams will start to worry. So Chennai, with their batting lineup, they're just starting to get that right mix out the back end. When it came to their bowling, I was very impressed with Deshpande. The way that he bowled to Head and Sharma. Head first, he was trying to attack him on his legs, try and cramp him for room. Head got a 6 away early. Then he went wide of the next ball with a little bit of pace, and Head was able to get 1. All of a sudden, a couple of balls later, Head's back on strike. He's gone wider, fuller with a slower one, the off-break slower delivery, where the ball's just going to nip away from him a little more. Head wants to go hard over cover. He wants to keep that momentum through the shot, but he can't control it and feeds deep point. Beautiful bowling by Deshpande, beautiful setup. And it's the same with Abhishek Sharma. Later on, the next over that he bowled, Abhishek Sharma got a delivery that was pace on, just on a good length outside off stump. He drove it down the ground with ease. Deshpande keeping his cool, knowing that he had to do something different, kept pace on, went shorter, same width, and all of a sudden Sharma, who like Head wants to try and go over the cover region, can't control it and mistimes it out to deep point. Beautiful bowling by Deshpande. Those 2 wickets were crucial, and I love the way that he had the courage to be able to change the length and the line and try and create those wicket-taking opportunities. He wasn't allowing the batsman to size him up and realise that he's just going to bowl the one line, and he used the change of length perfectly. Well done to Deshpande. I want to have special mention to Jadeja as well, the best spinner in the game, and it wasn't easy conditions for him when he was bowling. There was dew there, hard to grip the ball. So when he felt that he had a dry ball, he would slow it up. But when it was slightly dewy, he would change his pace and line. So the likes of Klasan, Markram could not line him up. He was aiming out the pads and then going for the wide line and also changing up that length a little bit as well. So that is smart bowling by the spinner, knowing your conditions. And when it's a little bit dewy, you know that the ball's going to skid on and it's going to be harder for the batsman to take you on. But the other thing there last night, he knew that the wicket was a little tacky. So when he felt the ball was a little drier, he used that dryness and the tackiness of the wicket just to create a little bit of doubt in the batsman's mind. So again, they couldn't size him up. So smart bowling by Jadeja. Paddy Rana. I like the way that he went about his business as well. Slingy action, hard to control when the ball's a little slippery. The first over, his pace was down, but he was just trying to get his line and length. And I think it was around about the 5th ball when he got the wicket of Markram. You could see that he was just lacking a slight bit of confidence there. And Gaikawad, to his credit, young captain, walked over to him and gave him the confidence and said, Paddy Rana, we need a wicket here. If we can get a wicket here, all of a sudden we put pressure on that lower order because they're well behind the game right now. And Paddy Rana just bowled a searing Yorker out 147 kilometres an hour, getting the wicket of Markram. One of the best deliveries I've seen in this year's IPL. But then we move forward And when he was bowling to Klasan later on in the game, he was still bowling those slower deliveries. His pace wasn't up around that 150 mark that we know he could. He was bowling within himself because the conditions were difficult for him to control the ball. So he was smart in that, but he was using his change of pace, he was using change of length and change of line. And with that, the batsman out the other end or facing him knew that he had something up his sleeve with that quicker one. They were waiting for that quicker one. And that created the doubt within the batsman's mind. And when Klasan was facing, he went for that searing Yorker. They had to go after him. He didn't quite get it, but because it was low trajectory and was deep enough in the crease, Klasan could only tow it, get caught in the deep. So well bowled to Padirana, summing up the conditions. And I like the way that Gaikwad utilised his bowlers as well. He had Natarajan coming in out of the power play, using him, saving Padirana a little bit later for when he needed him, when Klasan would have been at his peak. So great smarts there by Gaikwad, but also using Thakur a lot earlier and saving a couple of overs of Natarajan and Padirana out the back end when it was going to be most difficult to control those dewy deliveries or control gripping the ball with the dew. So great use of resources by Chennai Super Kings. Just going to quickly talk about Gujarat Titans taking on RCB. Gill up front, yes, class player, but he didn't show enough initiative in the power play. He allowed Swapnil Singh to control him. The RCB team were able to have squarer fields, knowing that Gill doesn't really like to play those fine shots or ramp shots. He didn't take a risk there. He didn't look out the gaps in the field, and he just allowed RCB to control the power play overs. And that put pressure on the middle order and the later order. They were at least 20 runs short in putting on a total. But well batted to Shurak Khan. I thought he was absolutely sensational. And Sundardasan, again, a young talent coming through. Sundardasan's strike rate could have been a little bit better, but he's only young and he's got those big hitters around him, and rotating strike, I'm fine with that. But as he gets more mature, gets a bigger build, watch out for that strike rate to go up. There's a lot of pluses for him there. I just want to say something about Swapnil Singh. He was the difference in the game. The 14th over, when the momentum was starting to go to Gujarat Titans' favour, and they looked as though they were going to press on well past 200, around about 220 maybe, or even 240. He bowled an over that went for 6, set the next over up for Siraj, who got the wicket of Shah Rukh Khan, and that caused the loss of momentum for the Gujarat Titans. I love the way that Kohli and Duplessis batted. Duplessis took on the opening bowlers, got RCB off to a good start. Then when Duplessis got out, Kohli showed the initiative. He had a good strike rate up until the 10th over, and I think there's another moment in the game where it changed. So Kohli came out of the 10th over, 51 off 32, and the RCB were 1 for 98. Chasing 200 out the 10th over. So they were right in the game, and they had it under control. But the shot of the last ball of the 10th over against Rashid Khan that went for 4, there was a misfield there. That took a little bit of pressure off. All of a sudden, Jakes in the next over started his onslaught. He was going out 16 runs off 16 balls. So it was a very poor strike rate from Jakes. He had a bit of luck there, but then he went 84 off 25 deliveries after that with a strike rate around about 320. That is awesome batting and showed that he has got a big future in IPL cricket. The way that he took on the spinners, the way that he took on Rashid Khan in those final overs, you don't see that happening too often. He's got a lot of talent. But I just want to go back to Kohli just quickly as well, because I have been critical about his slow strike rates. And sometimes against spin, he likes to stand up and play from standing up. Doesn't go to the sweep shot. But the way he played Nor yesterday, knowing that Nor's trying to cramp him for room on that leg stump, he went to the sweep shot. He took a calculated risk, put Nor off. Nor couldn't recalibrate, and all of a sudden Coley was getting other opportunities from Nor to be able to score those boundaries. So that was a slight change in the momentum of the game as well. So well batted to Coley, well batted to Jacks, and well done to both RCB and CSK getting on the winning list. I can't pick the top 4 in this year's IPL from here. It's becoming difficult. It's a close table. Very important games coming up.